And at the core of it, you don't need to buy stupid stuff to show off to people who really, truly, at the end of the day, don't really care about you. Like, let's be for real. Most people don't care about you. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra, and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is going to be another extreme minimalism video, and today we're going to be talking about social validation, social media, and not really something that's material per se, but more so the life concept or the mentality behind a lot of things that extreme minimalists do. I was an extreme minimalist for all of 2 years, and right now that I am on an extreme savings goal, I also have been really implementing a lot of these things back into my life because they are really useful. And sometimes it's not really about saying no to shopping, but really changing the mindset. So I want to share with you guys 4 things that I think are really in the realm of the mindset behind extreme minimalism that I think could really resonate with you guys. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo! Okay, so coming in at number 1, being private, nobody cares. So I think this for me has been really something that's been kind of a struggle because I do run social media, like a social media channel, Instagram, TikTok. So I feel like I have to find that nuance between providing useful content while at the same time being private. And I think that that's really important because sometimes I will be inclined to want to buy things to kind of showcase my success, show that I'm doing really well, to let others know, like I'm doing well, like I'm doing okay. And I have to remind myself that some stuff is best kept private because really truthfully at the end of the day, like unless it's providing value, nobody cares. And I really think that this can be useful, especially if you are not a content creator. You really should be considering that your privacy is among one of your better assets. And at the core of it, you don't need to buy stupid stuff to show off to people who really truly at the end of the day don't really care about you. Like, let's be for real, most people don't care about you. And I don't mean that in a mean and condescending way, like nobody cares about you. It's not that. It's just kind of more the mindset behind extreme minimalism in the sense that like you kind of realize that no one is really thinking about you as much as that you are. So it kind of frees you to be like, well, maybe I don't need to make as many of these purchases or more bougie, expensive purchases because I don't really need to prove to anyone anything. Like I'm fine. And so that comes into that aspect of just be a little bit more private and nobody really cares. Okay, coming in at number 2, social validation. This is also in the core of that vein since we are talking about validation in social media. I think a lot of, especially Instagram, I feel like this is more of an Instagram problem. Everyone wants to cosplay that they're rich. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it is human nature to want to better ourselves. I think it is human nature to want to show like I'm doing well, this is my success. But I think that at some point you have to realize that social validation, social media excluded, just general validation in general from others is an empty pit that you will never satisfy. You will never please everyone. You can't please everyone, and you will never be able to fully please everyone. There'll come a point where you'll realize it's like chasing the dragon, it's like chasing the rabbit. Like it's endless, it's never ending, and you end up really like empty and like dead inside trying to chase that. So at some point you have to put your foot down and kind of realize, you know what, maybe I need to question, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for others? Am I doing this for validation? Am I doing it for my own personal self-satisfaction? And I think that will definitely help free you. And I say these things because these have been my own personal struggles. I have to look to social validation to make sure, are my videos performing well? Is my content useful? So I have to internalize a lot of my audience's wants and needs in my work. So for me, it's been like a struggle to separate that and be like, actually, I'm putting my foot down on this one. I don't need other people's validation, especially because my social media content depends on that. But let me tell you guys, when you stop chasing the rabbit, you really do find freedom. And I think that's why a lot of extreme minimalists don't do a lot of things, because when you are not driven by social validation, the validation of others, it really frees you to do things that you want to do, and not because other people are telling you to do that. Okay, coming in at number 2, so logo mania versus like the quiet luxury aesthetic. So I think a lot of extreme minimalists tend to kind of sort of downplay logos, downplay a lot of things because it is still tied to like, I don't care what other people think. And since I don't care what other people think, I'm just gonna buy what I want. So obviously there's like gray zones to this. There are some people who really do like logo mania and are extreme minimalists, and so they're gonna rock it because like they don't care what other people think and they don't care that it looks chuggy, they're just gonna wear it. So the thing that I'm trying to say is that like a reason that a lot of extreme minimalists do really embrace the quiet luxury aesthetic, or the quiet luxury aesthetic is even a thing in the first place, as elitist as it may be, is because you get to a point where if you are really happy with your life and you are really successful, you finally don't care what other people think. Like you finally are like, okay, honestly, like what you think of me doesn't really matter because like I'm making shit pop, and so I don't really care what you think. The quiet luxury aesthetic in terms of like extreme minimalism is like, you don't need to rep logos anymore because you know the quality is good. You don't need to rep logos anymore because you don't care if other people know that it's expensive or not expensive. It comes down to like, you know that it's good quality and you know that it was expensive, and that is good enough. Okay, coming in at number, what is this, 4? So consumer debt. A lot of extreme minimalists tend to have a surplus of money. Not all. There probably are some that probably blow all their money on travel. I have seen a few that are extreme minimalists and are broke because they travel a lot. Don't get it twisted, they're not all good with money. But something that I have seen in a lot of extreme minimalists that I do follow is that they tend to be pretty good with consumer debt. They don't really buy a lot of stuff. So it's really good to have a surplus of money if you're not buying dumb stuff. But there are some that I have seen that take extreme minimalism in the other direction and just kind of realize there's no point to life, and so they don't really want to work, and so they don't really work, and then they don't really have money. But as a whole, I see that a lot of them don't indulge in unnecessary purchases just because they realize that consumer debt is just not that smart. Not saying that all extreme minimalists are good with money. There's a few that I can think off the top of my head that are not really good with money, but as a whole, they're better off because they've realized I don't need to do this and I don't need to do that because I just don't have to please people anymore. And then the last one, Henrys. So let's talk about Henrys. So Henrys are high income earners, not yet rich. So these are people that are like dentists, entrepreneurs, and they're broke or in debt, and they're constantly, showcasing a lavish lifestyle in order to sell the lavish lifestyle and just can't seem to get out of that hole. Or they have a lot of money coming in, and since they think, well, a lot's coming in, I'm just going to spend it because next month a whole boatload of money is coming in. And then before you know it, like, they can't get out of the cycle. They develop an addiction to luxury, which is really easy to get addicted to. You like nice things and you want the nice things to keep coming. But I think that the reason a lot of extreme minimalists kind of reject that rhetoric of buying expensive things or having a lavish lifestyle is because at some point, and I don't know if this is the case for all extreme minimalists, but when you indulge in that and then you keep indulging in it, you get on the hedonic treadmill and then you kind of plateau and you kind of realize this really ain't it, which in itself is a massive privilege. You really can't snub luxury until you've experienced and tired of luxury. I actually think it's kind of strange when a lot of extreme minimalists are like, I don't even want to go there, and they've never experienced it and they snub it in the first place, which is actually kind of interesting. But it's kind of like, I actually don't really understand that either, to be completely honest, and I don't really know where I'm going with this point. But from my understanding, there's kind of two sides to the coin as to why extreme minimalists don't really indulge in luxury per se. There's two camps. One camp has tired of it. They have indulged in it and they're saturated and they don't want anything to do with it anymore, and it gives them the ick. They've decluttered it all and they're living a simple life, a humble life, and they find a lot more fulfillment in that. The other side, and I don't mean to like be rude or anything like that, and I fell into that camp. They just can't afford it. One reason or another, they don't want to participate in capitalism. They don't have the means to afford luxury. So it is just a lot easier and just a lot financially intelligent. Just don't participate in it. You don't even have the money to participate in it. And so you obviously spin the narrative. You're like, yeah, I don't care for that stuff. Well, the truth is you couldn't afford it anyway. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so there's two camps to extreme minimalism. And I actually think that's healthy. I think it's healthy to accept that you can't afford that kind of stuff. So if you can't afford it, like, why are you buying it? Like, when I couldn't afford luxury, I wasn't buying it either. I bought fakes. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a season. I'm actually not even going to shame my fakes. My fakes served the function. They gave me a sense of hope that this is where I want to go and this is where I want to be. I actually do still have a couple of my fakes, if I'm being completely honest, because it reminds me of who I was and where I came from. I actually think it's really nice being in a position where you can grow to become the person that you want to be. I kind of do feel a little bit bad for Nepo babies. They're just born into privilege. They don't get to experience the grind. I once heard the reason that a lot of Nepo babies are depressed is because they're born at the top and all they know is falling off a cliff, versus the ones that brought them up there, or like their parents, they were down here at the bottom of the mountain and climbed up to the top, so all they do is enjoy the view. So there's like that difference. They know how to climb the mountain versus the Nepo baby wouldn't know how to climb back up, and so all they do is fear falling, and that's a terrible way to live. Anyway, my point being is, I think that if you are on an extreme minimalism journey, figure out which camp you fall into. If you have the means to, go crazy on the luxury till you get sick of it, and then you realize that like it ain't shit. And I think that's something that's kind of recently happened to me. I've definitely bought a lot of my wish list items that I couldn't have in the 5 years of med school, and now that I've indulged them, I'm like, whoa, like, now what? So there's actually a couple of items that I'm not going to purposely buy to delay gratify myself, because I found that the delayed gratification was actually the sweetest part of it. Once I purchased it, it was like, oh, okay, and now what? So I think that would be great. And if you are on the other side of extreme minimalism, as I was when I was in med school and I had no money, just tell yourself, you can't afford it. Why would you buy it? That's really stupid. You don't need that stuff in your life. And I'm telling you as somebody who has bought it, somebody who has had and not had, you really don't need it. And obviously I'm in a privileged position to be able to tell you that you don't need it because I have it. But yeah, like, nothing changes. Like, really, truly nothing changes. One, look at point one. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's tapping me on the back going like, oh my God, I love it. I love that you have a YSL Gabby. Like, like no one actually cares. Do you guys even still know I have the YSL Gabby that I bought last year in Paris? Probably not. The only person who knows is me, and there's times I forget that I even own it. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you are fine on both ends of the spectrum. If you can't afford it, you're really not missing out on much, and if you can't afford it, go crazy till you realize it ain't shit. So I really hope that these extreme minimalism tips could have helped you. These are my raw and real tips. They may or may not resonate with everyone, but they are things that have really helped me kind of navigate my way through capitalism and consumerism to come out the other end and be like, yeah, you know what, I think it's just better to put money in the bank instead of being broke and surrounded with poo. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.